Alright, so we'll do question number 2 now. So the question number 2 says wheat worth rupees 120 per kg and rupees 135 per kg are mixed with a third variety in the ratio 1:1:2. If the mixture is worth rupees 153 per kg, the price of the third variety per kg will be what? Okay, so here we have three varieties. So it is very difficult to compare three varieties to get a mixture of one variety, right? So what we'll do here, so what's the easy step to do to crack this problem here? You look at the ratio. Ratio is given to us. It is 1:1:3. Now if you compare first two varieties, and we already know the cost of that two varieties also. So the ratio is 1:1. So if we have the first variety and half the second variety, and if we add them up, then the ratio will be satisfied, right? So we can convert first two varieties into a single variety by just taking the average of these two. Okay, so 126 plus 132 upon 2 will become the new variety. Okay, so we'll solve it here. So look carefully. So 1 and 2 varieties can be combined together. Since the ratio is 1:1, so we can easily write like 126 plus 135 upon 2 will be equal to 130.5 rupees per kg. Okay, so this is what we got. Alright, so we got, now this is a kind of new variety. Alright, so we have got one new variety of 130.5 rupees per kg. Now forget these two varieties. Now we have one new variety and one third variety. Alright, now the mixture will be equal in quantity. Okay, we'll see how. So the mixture is for 153 per kg, but we need to find out the price of the third variety. So we can again create the same chart. So what I'm gonna do here, I'll write in the same way like I did in the previous video. Like I'll write here 130.5. Over here we need to find out the third variety, so we'll assume it to be x. Okay, so we can assume it to be x and the mixture should be 153, right? So now if we do the subtraction or addition, or let me draw the lines also, so the lines will be of this kind. So when you draw lines, it becomes very easy, like what to subtract and from which to subtract. Of course, over here it is the cheaper quantity, cheaper price. This x will be the expensive one. Okay, so now what we need to do here, so which is expensive here? Out of these two, x will be expensive, so it will be x minus 153. Alright, and over here, which is expensive? 153 expensive, so 153 minus 130.5 will be here. Okay, so or we can easily write it like 22.5. That would be more better. So 22.5 will be here. Okay, so now the ratio will be what? So the ratio of first and second quantity, like over here I will write it. So the ratio will be 130.5 is to x is as 22. Okay, now we do not need to write that because you see, like I told you, that the first two quantities were in ratio 1:1. So when we took the average, so it became 2:2. So these two quantities are also equal. So we can just write it as x minus 153 is equal to 22.5. Okay, so x will be equal to 175.5. That's the solution. Understood. So what we did in this problem, we had three quantities, but first two quantities were in ratio 1:1. So we took the average of these two quantities to create a new quantity. Now we have only two quantities. The first, the one we calculated as 130.5, and the other one is x, which is required to be found out, and the mixture is 153, right? Now we need to find out the price of the third variety. That means we need to find out the value of x, right? So what we can do here, we can create the allegation chart and we can find out. Now after we got x minus 153 and 22.5, that's the ratio of new quantities, right? So what we did, So the new ratio will become 2:2. So we can easily equate the quantities that we got. So x minus 153 will be equal to 22.5, and from this equation we can find out the value of x, that will be 175.5. Alright, so now what we need to do is we'll move to next question. So the next question says, in what ratio must rice at rupees 9.30 per kg be mixed with rice at rupees 10.8 per kg so that the mixture be worth rupees 10 per kg? This is very easy question. I would strongly recommend you to pause the video here and resume it later. So here also we can create the same rule of allegation chart. So what we'll do here, we'll write the values 9.3 here and 10.8 here. Okay, and the mixture will be 10, right? So the mixture is 10. So now what we can do, we can also mark up some lines here like this, and over here also like this. So now what we need to do is we need to subtract, and we need to know what is the solution. So 10.8 minus 10 will be 0.8, and over here 10 minus 9.3 will be 0.7, right? So now what will be the ratio? So the question was to find the ratio of rice at 9.3. So we'll say rice 1 and rice 2. Okay, so ratio of rice 1 is to rice 2 will be 0.8 is to 0.7. So rice 1 is to rice 2 will be 0.8 is to 0.7, that is also equal to 8 is to 7. Alright, so that's the ratio. Understood. So what we did in this question, we just use the basic rule of allegation. So what's the basic rule says? To write the price at the top, the cheaper one should come first and expensive one should come at second level. Then you should write the mixture price, and then you should do the basic subtraction. You can also interchange these two things, and if you are interchanging like 10.8 over here and 9.3 over here, then you just need to change this also, like rice 2 will be here and rice 1 will be here. So you should always write at the top whether you're doing it for rice 1 first or rice 2 first, similarly variety 1 or variety 2. Alright, so if you're following the procedure correctly, you will never be wrong. So I'll give you one homework question, try to do it yourself, and till then, this is Gaurav Alia from Karsak Education. See you later. Thanks.